Impact Wrestling in Mexico. Now I'm going to say that this episode wasn't too bad. It had a couple of surprises in it, which I'm fine with. And I'm alright with that. And I want to say that I don't want to sound like a broken record, which I am. But we have to talk about the production value. But this is going to be short because I'm not going to put it throughout the night. I'm not going to. Let's make this very clear. The production value was not great. Particularly that, and this was the kicker for me when I was watching this show. In the other venues that Impact has been in, they have been in small venues, which is, you could say, you could understand that the cameramen were cramped. They just did not have enough space. And whoever was running the production truck felt like it was more important to be close up because you don't have an option. But we didn't get that. We had a very large venue. It was ridiculous. It was so large. And instead of them backing up a little bit, they refused. They stayed exactly as they were. And that brought the production value down for me and part of the show. I'm just saying it right now. When it comes to the camera work, it was terrible. Lighting was fine. Audio was fine. Camera work was a mess. Because they were that dumb. I don't care if it's the cameramen or the ones in the production vehicle or truck, whatever. That they couldn't let them step back 4 feet and just work that way. It was just plain dumb. Now, let's get to the first thing I want to talk about briefly. And that's Moose versus Ken Shamrock. I don't know where they're going to go with this with Moose. I'm very worried that Moose is not going to get the really great rub that he deserves and needs. I could be 100% wrong because this match has to happen at Bound for Glory. If they have it on a regular Impact, it would be dumb. So it would make sense for them to build this up going into Bound for Glory. But who knows? I do believe they'd be at Bound for Glory, but probably they'll do it before then, and I think that would be a waste. Seeing Shamrock had his moment to talk, saying what his accolades were, is average. I wouldn't expect him not to say what he did in MMA, UFC, and WWE. Well, he was in WWE, and he was in Impact Wrestling. He said what he had to say. Now, Moose, when he had his interview, was okay until the shock of the year. Because Fallah Bahh comes out as Moose is saying, I am 6'5". I am near 300 pounds. I will destroy you to Ken Shamrock. But then Fallah Bahh comes down and says, oh, you, what do you think you're doing here, fat boy? Well, he didn't say it in that many words. But he was pretty much saying, what are you doing here? I beat you already. And Fallah Bahh, instead of saying, bah, bah, nope. He says, me, you, one more time, bitch. Finally, they let Fallah Bahh talk. Or finally, Fallah Bahh wants to talk. I don't know if Impact Creative said to him, look, you've been doing the Bahh for quite a while. It's time to talk English. Or he said to them, I want to talk English. It's time. I don't care who it is. Hearing him talk is a wonderful change for Fallah Bahh. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be permanent. He may just go right back to the way he was before. But if he does talk, it will give him more value because we haven't seen him talk at all other than bah. That's it. Let's move on to the Deaners and the Diener Farm with the Dempsey Hit Squad. I know I didn't say much about the Dempsey Hit Squad, and I didn't say much about the Deaners. Other than when they had the match, I didn't say anything about when they went to the farm. Let's put this in perspective. Do you guys like seeing 3 Indians go to a farm and have to shovel dirt instead of shoveling shit? Honestly, if they were shoveling manure, it would be more funnier. Honestly, it would have been. Now, was it a total washout? No. It was okay. It wasn't 100% bad. Seeing that the one who's liking this the most is Raju. He's the one who's trying to be the comedic relief of the entire situation. Honestly, I'd rather see Raju. I'd rather see him as the tough guy, to be honest. He's done this comic relief for quite a while, and I do believe he's got great potential to be a serious guy. He could be an X Division champion. He could. But as it stands, that's all they're doing with him. For me personally, I would rather see that the Deaners lost and they would have to do something Indian. Wearing Indian garb. Having to do something that an Indian would do in India. That is what I think would have been more interesting. Exposing the off. Seeing them wearing the same clothes as the Dempsey Hit Squad. Having to eat curry. Having them to do something else would have been even more entertaining than this. Because we've seen this so many times before. Honestly. First match of the night is a Fatal 4-Way. It wasn't that I didn't like the match. I just felt like the camera work made it difficult. And this is the only time I'm trying to mention the camera work. But I did manage to see most of what was being shown, and it was a good match. PJB versus TJ Perkins versus, who was it? Who are the other ones? Golden Magic and Taurus. Was it a triple threat? Yeah, and Trey. Yeah, it was a Fatal 4-Way. It wasn't a triple threat. Trey, you got TJ Perkins, you got Golden Magic, and then you had Taurus. All lucha, all the time. Sorry, I got a little mixed up. It's kind of hard to pronounce the words. I'm bad with words. I'm dyslexic. What do you want? I enjoyed the match. It was Lucha Libre. I wasn't surprised. And in the end, the Golden Magic won, but TJ Perkins believed that he won because he put... Who did he put into that heel hook? I think it was Taurus. He put into the heel hook. And it was Trey who took the fall. Now, supposedly, maybe next week, it's going to be Golden Magic versus TJP. That's what I think is going to happen. But the question is going to be, will they give us a little commentary? A little bit of a background on both to try and make it more interesting, or they're just going to throw a match out? My guess is just going to throw a match out. Now, we got Taya Valkyrie. Taya, I didn't say this in the last two impacts, but Taya has now reached the point where she's now the longest reigning knockout in history. She only needed about 3 more days. She was at 136, and she needs 138. So this Monday, she will be the longest reigning knockout in Impact Wrestling history. And with those boobs, I would bow to my queen. Look, I'm glad Taya Valkyrie is given this accolade. She deserves it. She's earned it. And there was no problem, particularly going up against Big Mommy. Oh my gosh, she's in my face. Thick. Damn, man. That is a thick one right there. She seems really nice, very sweet, incredibly thick. And I felt that she probably could go in the ring. Oh my gosh, I was wrong. She tried though. And it's not because she's a heavy-set woman. I want to make this clear. We got heavy-set women that can grow their asses off in the damn ring. But when it comes to Big Mommy, that woman cannot go. I don't know if it was because of her weight. I don't think it was. I think she just was not that good. Particularly once she got rolling. And she was rolling at one point. And she decided to go up onto the second turn rope and do a moonsault off the damn thing and land on her freaking head. You can see the 2 images of her flipping back. And the second one right now, legitimately landing on her damn head. And if she didn't, she came damn close. That was nasty. My girl is thick. My girl, she ain't ugly. She's a pretty nice lady. But damn, she cannot do those big high-flying moves if she does not have the physical strength to do it. We got women who are big women, just as big as her, that work their damn legs to the max to make sure if they have to do any aerial, they have enough strength in their legs with their heavy setness to be able to do things like that and not hurt themselves. And I'm saying it clear. I'm not against her because she's fat. Because many people want to say, I'm saying she's fat. No. It's not because she's fat. It's because she's not trained properly to know if you're going to be a wrestler, particularly a heavy-set wrestler, you need to make sure you have the strength in your legs to be able to do things that you wouldn't normally have a problem with. So in the end, Taya wins. But guess who comes out? It is Dashwood. What is her name? Ticole. I believe her name is Tricole. I think that's her name. Tricole Dashwood. I still got to remember her name. I'm going to forget it and I'm going to botch it. I'm sorry. But seeing her come out, the original one from NXT who truly started the evolution of women's wrestling in WWE, comes out. A nice moment to see. She comes to the ring, and in Spanish, and I gotta say this about Taya Valkyrie talking Spanish throughout her promo, that was the wisest thing to do. I kind of wish there had been subtitles for it because, well, let's be honest here. You couldn't get a translator that could have gone to the production room and couldn't just tell you what they're saying and type it when she's talking. You did it for, guess who? Pentagon Jr. couldn't do it for her? Ugh. Anyway, she basically calls her an ass, I guess. Or kiss my ass. Don't make a difference. She basically beats her ass down, kicks Johnny Bravo in the face, and holds the title up high. She's in my face. Let's be honest here. This is one of the most important things that has happened in quite a long time in wrestling. A former WWE NXT, well, you want to make it clear, NXT star who started everything has now come to Impact. Yeah, I know a lot of people can say, oh please, she ain't nothing but some damn Australian tart, if you know what a tart is. I'm going to be honest to you. This means something. The original Emma never got her moment. She could get it here. And she could do something to build herself up so when she goes to AEW, it will be even more dramatic, particularly if she goes to AEW after about 6 months to a year, goes over there and wins the title over there and gets huge recognition. The WWE are going to smack themselves in the face saying, why didn't we keep this girl? She's making us look bad. Let's move on. We got the Rascals versus Willie Mack and Rich. Two teams that mean nothing. You could have done something with Rich Swann and Willie Mack months ago after the world title, tag team titles, going against LAX and making a feud with LAX that way. Nope. You kept these two teams separate. Then you had the Rascals go up against LAX, not once, not twice, 3 times, and they get nowhere. And for months before that, they were irrelevant. And now you stick these guys together where both of them could have been something. It was a throwaway match. Doesn't mean it was a bad match. And I want to make this clear. It was a throwaway match because they just wanted 2 teams out there they knew could go. They didn't want to put any storyline behind it. They didn't want to put any feud behind it. They didn't want to do anything, but they just threw them out there. It's sad, but it does not mean the match wasn't good. It was a damn good match. In the end, Willie and Rich win, but doesn't really mean anything. Next, LAX talking with the North. Because we already talked about tag teams, we might as well do the tag team stuff here. We got LAX. We got the North. We got Santana opening his, what is it? Santana Ortiz. I believe it was Ortiz. Sorry, not Santana. It was Ortiz who opened his big fat mouth and says, after what Santana says, hey, we are still the best. We're 5-time champions. You're nothing to us. And pretty much Josh Alexander says, we may be nothing to you, but we're still champs. We are the champs now. And it was Ortiz that says simply, you know what? We want those titles. We will put anything on the line. He said, oh, you want to put up your clubhouse? You want to put up your position? You want to put up your career? And he said, yes. And Conan almost had a hissy fit, which he did. And when it was all over, Ortiz pretty much said, if we're not champs, if we don't have those titles, I don't want to be here. So it's obvious this is it. This is the moment that we know that LAX is not staying with Impact Wrestling. Now, I'll be surprised if they win titles back. And if they do, it would be kind of a surprise because we already know Santana Ortiz have been, well, not seduced by AEW or WWE, but they have been approached. WWE's offered them money. And I'm sure they offered some damn big money. So it's AEW. I don't know which one they're going to. To be honest, if they're smart, they'll go to AEW because they have more creative freedom. If they go to WWE, they'll get their moment in NXT for maybe 5 minutes. Because once September rolls around, you're going to have it on USA. And once it's on USA, you're going to see so many things change that you may not recognize NXT anymore. If you're an NXT fan, get ready. There is no way your product's going to stay the same. So let's move on. We got 2 matches from the women. We originally got Kiera Hogan and Vanilla versus Jordynne Grace and Tormentia, if I'm pronouncing her name right. Let's put this in perspective. This all started because you got Kiera Hogan pissed off at Tormentia. No, was it Tormentia? Yeah, Tormentia. Sitting in a chair and she's saying, what do you think you're doing here? Speaking Spanish. And she gets offended. Then the other women come around and then Madison Rayne, who accompanies Kiera Hogan, says, why don't we put this in the ring? So they get their moment in the ring. And it is Madison Rayne. It's Madison Rayne who pretty much DQs the match. Then tries to beat up on a Jordynne Grace. And it is a Rosemary who comes out, saves Jordynne Grace, messes up Kiera Hogan, and the brass in the back say, let's have a 6-woman tag. 6 knockout tag. I should take that back. I'm sorry, not woman, but knockout. Let's put this in perspective. We finally see Rosemary back in the ring again. And to be honest, I don't want to see Rosemary in the ring as she is. I'm sorry, guys. I still love Rosemary. She's a great character. She speaks great. But as it stands in the ring, if she still has problems with her knee, it shows. I'm sorry. I'm not saying or trying to degrade anybody. But if you're not willing to change your style, knowing full well you have an injury and you gain weight, you look bad. Something has to change. Either you lose some damn weight or change your ring style to compensate for the increased weight and problem that you have with your damn knee. Do something. And I'm not against Rosemary. I still like Rosemary, but she needs to change. In the end, the faces win. But you wonder how far they're going to go with Rosemary and Jordynne Grace. Because I thought they were going to do something with Rosemary and Kiera Hogan. That Kiera Hogan has turned to the dark side. Let's say they could have made a storyline about this, saying because Kiera Hogan went to the undead realm, she now is showing signs, just like the bunny, of being cruel, ruthless, and heartless. Maybe something happened, and Rosemary wants to try and bring her back from the brink. That at least would be something here, instead of just having a beef. It just feels empty. Now, the second thing that was a surprise. Ace Austin calls Alyssa to the beach. There they are on my face. Going to the beach. Ace Austin wanted to tell Alyssa something was wrong. He told her about her husband, and then he wanted to say and express how he felt about her until 2 guys go and grab her bag and then run down the beach. And then you see an Ace Austin run after these guys, whoop their ass, and then does the complimentary Baywatch scene of coming out of the water. It's in my damn face. He does the David Hasselhoff motion. The scene, not motion. He does the Hoff scene of coming out of the water, looking drop dead sexy, looking cool, and walking out of the water, and Alyssa's saying, "Hey, Ace, are you okay? Hey, what are you doing?" My I'm sorry. It's so stupid. It's you know that old you know that old saying, if it's so bad, it's good. Like an old B movie that you once saw. It is such an incredibly horrible movie. It passes out of being horrible to being good. This was the only time I enjoyed this. It made my ass laugh out loud. And in the end, Ace Austin has now, he believes, got another notch on his belt to try and seduce Alyssa Edwards. But the only thing that upset me, but made me laugh my ass off again, was Reno Scum being used in this position. Oh man. I did laugh. I said, you gotta be kidding me. But this is what they decided to do. Reno Scum, they're not doing anything. So throw them with Ace Austin. Put them in a storyline that not many people are really interested in and see where it goes. And I don't know if this is good. That one moment of seeing the Hoff scene in Baywatch. If no one's ever seen Baywatch, you know what I'm talking about. Anyone who has. And if anyone who hasn't, go watch Baywatch opening. And you will see a very similar thing. Go on YouTube and watch it. It's awesome. But I'm just still not interested in this feud. But I will give it credit. It surprised me. This did surprise me to see they went there. The WWE doesn't even bother to do this kind of crap. They're not good at it. But Impact always does some weird things, silly things, and truly stupid things. And sometimes it comes up gold, and this was gold. Now, what else do we have here? That's done. Madison Rain's done. That is done. Okay, final match of the night, and that is Elgin versus Rhino in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This was a safe Falls Count Anywhere match. It was tame. It wasn't a bad 100% match, but it was a tame match. Let's be honest here. If it was going to be rough, like the documentary, I did a review on the Rhino documentary. Now, I don't know if those scenes that were shown in the documentary are in the next tapings. Probably they are. I kind of wish that this was that. And it would have made this better. Seeing Rhino tumble down the steps. I don't know if that was it. But let's be honest here. This was a very tame match for Rhino and Elgin. It wasn't that rough. And in the end, yes, Elgin won. It's still the feud going on. It's a filler feud. But it's very sad to see that Elgin has nothing to do. Particularly that we already seen, and I did forget this, when you see Sami Callihan, he talks about what's going to happen when it comes to Brian Cage. I want my damn title. If Cage cannot do anything or defend it, I want it to be handed to the #1 contender. But I'd rather face him and kick his ass. But if you can't, give me the damn thing. And now next week we're going to find out if you're going to have Brian Cage actually defend it at Bound for Glory or not. This is where I feel sorry for Mike. Big Mike is legitimately floating. Like, guess who? Killer Cross was floating in filler feuds. Moose was floating in filler feuds. Look what happened with him and the Rascals. Doing nothing. Look what Killer Cross working with Eddie Edwards. Not doing anything. And now you got Michael Elgin doing the same thing. Now this show wasn't that bad. Other than the problems already stated, it wasn't a bad show and it had a couple of surprises. And I would recommend you see it. Just be prepared, and I'm going to say this one last time, The camera work is not great. And if you can't see all of the match, and particularly a lot of times they switch to the people's asses because they would not step back 4 feet just to get the entire ring, it may piss you off and it may turn you off from watching the show. But if you can get past that, it's okay. This is my point of view. Have a good day. Have a good night. And I will be, if I'm not forgetting, because I am working on some stuff, I will be doing All Out tomorrow. I will be reviewing All Out for AEW.